Alrighty then, mic check. Let me know how everybody is doing here tonight. Give me a shout out. Say something to us over there in the live chat box here out there on YouTube. Of course, we are doing this as a live stream. It is Mentorship Monday. We are going to get right into things here tonight. I am going to kill the music as in these lessons. If you guys want to play this at a higher speed later on, this is the core content that we are creating here in 2020, getting things updated for 2020 with some of the latest features out of ALGOBOX. And tonight we're going to cover some very, very important topics right up here. Order of operations, optimized edge, timing. These are things that you need to know from a big picture perspective before you apply the specific entry strategies. We need to make sure you know when and where to get in on those. We will be focusing in on that here this evening. Let's get into some charts, shall we? But before we do, make sure, if you haven't already, follow us over here on Facebook and Twitter, and of course here on YouTube. We've got some channels divided up there by category if you haven't done that already. And more importantly than that, if you want to get your learn on with us, make sure you head over here to our Discord channel. What's up, Vincenzo? We got the whole crew over here hanging out. Oh, I see we've got that chat disabled. That is very important. I want the chat to come in here, so let's get that in just one moment. Let's get the pop-out chat going as well so that we can see responses, because we are going to be interactive here tonight. And let's make sure that we've got that going. So let's edit our chat box here. And for tonight's live stream, there we go. All right, there's the crew hanging out here with us up here in the top left. Now we're going to come down here and look at some charts where, of course, all of the fun and magic happens. Let's get into those charts. Make sure you're on that Discord channel over there. Oops, let's move that out of the way. Some technical difficulties. All right, there we go. Can you see, you guys see the charts all right over here? All right, so tonight we are talking about some of those important topics. We got timing, we got to talk about edge. Got my notes right here. We are going to start out with, make sure if you missed lesson 1, go back and watch lesson 1 first, because all this stuff builds on itself. So no further comments on that. Go make sure you check that one out. That was all about risk management, seeing how we exit our strategies, which is important if you are going to take a loss, how to take those small losses. All of that was in there. And the big picture. This is going to be a lot shorter video. We're going to try to get right to the points on these as we go through the further lessons. So we'll start talking a lot less about this intro stuff in the future videos. They're going to be very quick, very to the point on each one, so that you can later on go right back to a specific video that doesn't cover a lot. But this tonight is going to still be encapsulating some bigger picture items, particularly order of operations. Very, very important topic, and some of that has changed from the past. So if you are here and you think, oh, I remember Vinny's order of operations, just hang tight. All right, we'll talk about order of operations. We are going to be talking about the optimized edge, and we've got timing. These are our 3 primary topics here this evening. What's up, Jerry, Anthony, Wayne, Brian? Thanks for saying hello. Anybody else that wants to say hello to us over there in the chat box, we love the interaction here. Plus, if you guys say a lot more comments, that crazy white thing up there will go away. I'm sure you guys can see that up there as well. You see this thing up here? You guys chat a bunch more, so this thing will go away on the chat feed there. Okay, so order of operations. We're going to talk about this first. Structure, very, very important concept. What exactly is structure? This is the very first thing that we need before we take any of our strategies. So, you know, I know that it gets very tempting to like take every swing at everything. Like, look at this right here. That red dot, right? It's so tempting. You just want to go in there, smack down, take that entry. It's a red dot. Cool. I hit that entry. There's my green exit. It looks very simple, yes? And in fact, with ALGOBOX, it is very simple, as you guys have seen. And again, if you haven't installed this yet, if you're watching this and you're in the public section, go download this. This is a free 2-week trial. Go install it on your machine. You're going to be a little bit lost if you don't have this stuff installed. Yeah, go away, white box. You guys almost got it. Say some more. See everybody chatting over here. Fill up that room, and this thing will like get off the screen here for us. But it's very tempting to just jump into entries. That is not our intention for you to take you're not going to swing at everything that comes into your chart. That is not the point and purpose of what we do here. You need to understand market structure first. There we go. It's almost gone. It's almost gone. Somebody give me some hearts and some love in there. Oh, there we go. Fill up that room. We got some thumbs up, and there it goes. Now the big white nasty box is awesome. Thanks for clearing the screen there, guys. So which ones of these, really at the end of the day, what's the most important thing that you're going to be doing before you enter into a trade? So we're going to talk about those. Structure is one of our most important things. But before we talk about structure, I think everybody knows what a structure is. Let's give a couple of examples, stuff from books, right? Everybody knows, okay, what's that right there, right? That's a wedge, okay? Got the wedge. What about, how about this little gem right here, right? You got a flag, okay? Lots of that stuff that you're gonna read from books. Yeah, sure, these are structures. You know, what do we do with a channel? Okay, you got a channel. What do we do with channels? Okay, same thing. These are structures. You need to know what structure you're trading. Number one, do not take a trade unless you have identified a structure. I don't care if it's a cup and handle. I don't care if it's a flag. I don't care if it's a wedge. There are particular ones that you guys know that we focus on specifically. You know, like one of our, you know, most famous ones around here is trading that turtle, right? We love a turtle trade. We're gonna see that little guy. Here's his little head. We're gonna take this thing. We're gonna wait for our green dot. Boom, boom, boom. Easy trade, right? We love that one right there. But make sure you know those structures. Again, in future videos, we'll go into specific details on those. Tonight, we're gonna give an overall view on what we're gonna do before we enter to these things. Your order of operations, number one, is, say it with me, structure. Identify a structure. Now, let's talk about our edge and where you should be looking for that structure on, because you're gonna say, well, what time frame should I be looking for that structure? That is a great question. We do optimizations weekly in here with our crew. If you are new to our organization, you may not know what this is, but everybody who has been here a while with us knows exactly what this is. This is what I produce for you guys once a week. Usually comes out on Sunday night, but oftentimes early on Monday morning. But before the week begins, you need to look for this. This is our grid. This is what our system, I run a, if you're familiar with backtest optimization walk forward processes, this is the second step in that, which is the optimization process, where we tell the bots to go out, do your thing, and during current market conditions, we want to get the latest information, what the market's doing right now, and tell me, oh great one, tell us what is the current range that our processes and our executions are gonna work the best on. And give us your best guess. Remember, this is always the whole, this is a scientific process that gives you a best guess. It is still a probability at the end of the day. There is no guarantee on this, but right here, what's the column that's the most important? Right here. If you're new to the firm, exactly. So right here, we're zooming in, the period, and this list here is the instrument list. Okay, this is a terrible zoom in. I know it's kind of like way up there to the left. It's part of my my tool here, but this is important. These first two rows are what you want to look at. If you are trading the 6E right now, you should be on the 27 period. I'm going to show you guys how to read this chart. 6J, you should be using the 16 period. For crude oil, you should be using the 20 period. ES, you should be using the 24 period. FDAX, etc. You guys get this point? Now, you're going to go, but that's a period. What does that mean? Is that the 24 minute? Is that the 24 tick? No, these are ranges. Remember, we use two types of charts in here, so let's go through that. Just to confirm, this is the optimized range for the wave chart, correct? Yes, Wayne is ahead of the program. He has been here a while, and he's asking, what is that? Yes, that is the wave chart. So I'm going to bring that down, because what you guys are looking at right now is, so let's look at what ES is supposed to be. So ES right now should be the 24 range, right? Look how we're matching this up. See this ES 24 range? So I got my ES chart here, and what does that say? 24 range, right? I think you guys can read this on the screen. Yes. So if you guys catch that so far, or any questions, let us know. If you get this, type me a 1. This is how I always check with things. If you don't get what's going on here for a second, type me a 2, and then we can always elaborate. But if you guys are following with me, always give me a 1, and that keeps the feedback going as well. Okay, so you are to go and change your charts. Now, how do you do this? I'm going to show you guys this as well. Again, some of you guys who are new with us, you need to learn how to do this. So this chart is a 24 range chart, and I'm going to show you the difference in range charts versus minute charts. Minute charts, if you're using time or hourly charts, I know a lot of people are familiar with minute, hour, dailies, weeklies. we look at markets differently. Our optimization process allows us to use range bars, which literally, I'm going to show this in one of the questions that came through Vinny, Ask Vinny question section. They said, Vinny, we're supposed to be predicting one bar at a time, correct? Because he's listened to some of my later lessons. Yes, we're predicting one bar at a time to get our entire paycheck for that next trade. That's what we're trying to do. Ultimately, your eyes, you need to be able to train your eyes, and over time, you will gain this. But we are going to show you how to, even if you don't have the experience, how our system is going to give that to you. I had a conversation with my boy Tom Dancy earlier today. I looked at one of his old videos, and he's talking specifically. Again, he's got man, I'm going to mess up the number of years, but he's coming close to like 20 years of experience. I know the video when I watched of his at that point back in 2014. Let's see, I think that's correct. 2014, he had 14 years. So he's at 20 years. He started in 2000. So I'm fairly certain I can say that with certainty that Tom has 20 years experience. But at that time, he had 14 years experience when he did this video, and he was showing people from his experience that when you see the market, it was actually kind of a trade scenario like this. Market came down into an area, and he talked about, and you guys have heard me say this before too, the 4 different types of people. The people who are on the sidelines, people who are looking to get in, the people who are long, the people who are short, and then what are you going to make the decision on, and the people who are trapped, and that type of scenario. And he's showing this in an area like this, and he's explaining, how he sees the market, and again, a veteran of the markets who can do that, who's done it for 20 years, that's extremely powerful. Like, there's nothing like experience, okay? There really isn't. Even ALGOBOX kind of comes like somebody who's got 20 years on it, they may still be able to beat ALGOBOX. Who knows? We'll see. However, what does ALGOBOX give you? It gives you, as a person who is in your first year, your second year, we compact 10,000 hours of experience time in approximately 150 days. Now, the training program itself, to get through all that, is about 120, but within 120 to 150 days of practice time, you can attain 10,000 hours of experience time. And we talk about that in the last video. Go back and watch that one if you're a little bit lost on what I'm talking about. But in this zone, in this area, in this location, to me, this is very easy to read. Now, again, I've been using my tools for a very long time. I think some of you guys, you can read this, right? This comes right into our river zone. Aren't we going to take the first bounce off of this, especially if it gives a tail? Yes. Okay. Now, could somebody else read that? Maybe. If you can't read that right now off of this chart, you're going to get there. Okay, we'll just say that. If you didn't know that at this spot we're looking for a long, come see me. We'll have a chat. Okay. But this is an area where we're going to read off of this chart, and this is the optimized range for our strategies. Now, is this what everybody in the universe should be using? No. If you're using our tools, should you be using it? Yes. So without belaboring that point, I think you guys can tell the difference. Anybody who has been using time charts, I would recommend you guys go Google this. There is a video out there called Time Charts Are Useless by Vinny Emini. Okay, go Google that, and you're going to go watch that video. I'm not going to go in specifically tonight about it, but just know we're not using time charts. We are using range and algo bars. Those are our 2 types that we, in our edge, that we're going to talk about some more here tonight, that we use. And we're not using time charts. You should be able to immediately tell the difference between those. These are much easier to read, in my opinion. Now, is that the same if somebody's got 20 years of experience and is going to come and look at these? Is that going to be easy for them to shift from? Well, no. It's always difficult to teach an old dog new tricks. Anything that you get used to, at some point, if you spend enough time with something, you can make something work. Okay. But again, our approach to the market is video game style action and letting the tools do the work. Okay. You don't have to have all the experience. You don't have to have all that time, although that is going to, don't quote me to say, oh, Vinny says you don't need experience. Look, I'm not saying that. The longer that you have experience with this tool, though, I can definitely tell you, you're going to see the difference in your P&L versus trading some other systems. I have not seen any other easier way to trade the markets than this. I can say that with confidence. If you guys find another one, I always tell you guys all the time, post it to me, right? And if they can beat us in a contest or show me that they've got a better edge than ours, but honestly, I'll go buy yours and I'll buy mine. If it's a subscription service, if it's a software, hook me up. We'll go toe to toe and we'll take it on. Mr. Cook says, if you were trading micros, say MES, is the ES range close enough to use? Yes. Good question. So, man, talk about things that are different. This is why this whole video needed an update. Back 4 years ago when I first did these, micros did not exist. In fact, this whole concept, if you would have told me 4 years ago that, oh, Vinny, one day, you know, the E-minis, that the E-mini contracts were going to get broken down so that you could trade 1/10 of a contract, I would have laughed at you, been like, oh, that's never going to happen. Well, here we are. We're in 2020, and last year, what was it? Was it January or February of last year? We got micros out, like this micro concept. This is 1/10 of a contract. But yes, the answer, that's a great segue. Thank you for asking that, Mr. Cook. You guys are smart. You guys are thinking ahead. Help me out as we go through this to teach. Well, the micros put a whole new angle on this. But yes, match up the equivalent of the micro to the E-mini. So what do I mean by this? So we want to do like this. So what is an example of this? So let's go red here. And so the equivalent of the micro is the MES, okay, versus the ES. Right, so this is an ES chart. This is the S&P 500. It's the E-mini contract of it. I don't trade micros, okay? I don't plan to, don't know that I ever will, but everything is the same other than the dollar value and your risk value. So this is a good place. This is a new thing that we're going to be talking about where I tell you guys, look, practice in sim, practice in demo, practice in market replay. But if you're a person, I've had many people come to me and be like, well, Vinny, you know, when I don't have any money on the line and I'm just trading sim, like I just trade differently. It's like I need to have something in the market. So in the past, they used to jump in too early. They'd be like, okay, well, I'm going to trade the NASDAQ. It's $5 a tick. And I'm going to go that way. And, you know, they get wrecked. And then they're like, I lost all this money. Well, now, instead of $5 a contract for the NASDAQ, and again, I'm just, you know what, let me just stick to these. $12.50, it's a pain in the tail. Let's do the, so let's pretend here for a second we're talking about the NQ. Okay, so ignore that. NQ, NASDAQ, right? The equivalent of that, again, anything with an M in front of it is pretty much, that's the micro of the E-mini. Hope you guys are following with me. If you get lost, you catch me up, but I think you guys are going to follow this. So for the NASDAQ, it's $5 a tick, okay? Well, for the micro, this is going to be 50 cents, right? 0.5, so 50 cents per tick. So again, if you kind of want to throw some quarters at the game, micros might be a way. So at least you got something on the line, right? So instead of making $100 that day, you made $10 that day, right? And that's perfectly fine. I've adopted that principle. I can't believe I'm saying this. What's up, Remo? Hey, thanks for saying hello and coming in late. Hey, better late than never. The micros allow you the opportunity to have a very small risk. And remember, I tell you guys this a lot, is that once you can learn this, when you've learned how to trade, nothing can stop you. Like the first thing you need to do is learn how to trade. Leveraging up, where you get funds from, who funds you, if you fund yourself, somebody else funds you. At the end of the day, if you can trade, that is a skill set that no one can take from you. And you can get paid all kinds of ways. So their first objective is not to be like, well, I don't really have that much money to trade with. Stop it right there, right now. Focus on the education, focus on executing our strategies, focus on making that money in sim, make it in micros. And then when you can prove yourself, you get yourself a nice 6-month track record, and then you can display it and show some people, there will be people ready to throw money at you if you have this skill set. I promise you, right? Go ask around the industry. That is a fact, okay? So micros, E-minis, you guys got that? I didn't lose anybody, right? If you guys are with me so far, type me a 1. If you got a little lost in there, type me a 2 so I can know, you know, if we need to expound on that a little bit, but I think we kind of covered that. So yes, ES or the MES right now should be on the 24 range for the wave chart. Now, let's stop here for a moment and talk about, so what is the difference in the wave chart and others? Now, it's a good segue into our strategies in here are going to always, we use 4 primary charts, but the ones that you guys have heard of before from a guy like Alexander Elder. who his book, the only one that I recommend on trading particularly, I might have another one to add this later this year, but this one right here is Alexander Elder's book, Trade for a Living. And he teaches something called, he calls it the triple screen. Okay. So the triple screen tells us we need multiple time frames, and he has a concept of tide. This is what we talk about all the time in here. Whoops, wow, can't spell today. Tide, wave. It went way too big with the stuff there. All right, tide, wave, and ripple. That looks terrible. And we're right here on the wave. Okay, so the biggest time frame is here at the tide. The focus point, though, where we want to predict, I'm not trying to predict the biggest time frame, folks. We're not on that big time frame. I'm not going to say I don't care what happens here, but I really do care what happens here, and I want to enter here. Okay, now you're like, okay, I'm a little lost. It's okay. So here's how we're going to do this. Let's see if we can get this a little bit lower. And let's do some yellow again. So this is water. Think about water. Okay? Be like water. Who said that? You guys know? Mr. Bruce Lee himself. Be like water. Go with the flow. We're not trying to necessarily always be able to predict where the wave's going tomorrow. It's like a surfer being out there on the water. He's going to surf that day. That's all he knows. Does he know what wave size is going to look like? Does he know what wave's going to come? He lets tons of waves pass him, but he's like, oh, here comes the one. He's in the right spot. He gets on that wave. He wants to ride that thing as long as he can. So be like water. We want to adjust. So what's the highest time frame? We want to go with the tide. I think you guys are going to totally follow this concept because I really like how he teaches this, and this is something that I've used for 8+ years now. Okay, I want to go in the direction of the tide. I want to ride the wave. Okay, and I want to hop in / enter on the ripple. And think about water, right? So the tide is rising. The wave can kind of come up or down. Okay, but right over here, when do I want to get in on this? On that little ripple. Okay, you got those little ripples, and then bam, right? I want to get in on something like this. I want to get that perfect entry location. This is what we're going to focus in here on tonight. Okay, so remember 3 chart types, but I am going to throw in a 4th because you're like, Vinny, I thought you said you had 4 chart types. That is true, but I want to teach you that first, this all starts from a triple screen, 3 time frame concept. But yes, because we also have a MACV filter, not MACD, the MACV, the MACVinny. All right, we have a specific strategy around that and how we filter for our trades that we are going to enter in on for our strategies that we use. Okay, moving on. First, I want to talk about what this is. This is always the same. Okay, we have an anchor tide. We have an anchor on our tide chart. This is always the same on all instruments because you're probably like, well, what should I do for the tide? So I get that, you know, ES is 24 this week, but what about the tide? It's a great question. 89. The 89 range chart. Okay, do you guys understand this? Your top time frame is going to be the 89 range always. Always, 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 always. Your mind and your eyes are going to start to be trained on what this is. The 89, why 89, why not 90, why not 100? This is a fib number. I'm not going to get into that here tonight. We'll talk about fib way later. But Fibonacci sequences like 89, 55, 34, 21, 8s, 4s, these are numbers that we use inside of our strategies. Okay, the top one that we use, again, on occasion, on a very rare occasion, I'll give an example on crude oil. If I'm going to go bigger on crude oil to see the yearly seasonality of crude oil, I will bump it up one more. So what's the next fib sequence from 89 up? The answer is the 144. Okay, so the 144 chart after 89. So if you ever guys see like, hey, Vinny's got the 144 out, I thought he said 89. That's the rare exception that I'll look at the 144. But everything that my eyes are trained to see is to see bars that are the same size. And that comes into range charts. I'm not going to go specifically into range. We've got lots of videos on why we use range and whatnot. But All these bars look approximately the same. I can estimate with my eyes. Your brain is very good at recognizing patterns. We can do things that even computers these days still cannot. They're getting close, but we can still recognize patterns inside. It's why these CAPTCHA things work, where they're like, okay, identify all of the traffic lights and all of the crosswalks, and how many puppies are there in this picture, and fire hydrants and stuff. The things that they're not good at recognizing, we as humans can do. So what I'm using is I'm using the human mind to give us edge. Okay, so part of our edge there is the types of charts that we use. We're using 3 time frames minimum, and a fourth, the MACV. I'll show you guys that on our setup here in just a moment. But let's look at that tide chart briefly, because that's not where I'm going to focus our attention here tonight. But I want you to know that yes, the tide chart does exist. And the tide, look where it is, 89. Now, yes, I am trying to predict on the highest level where this is going to go. You guys kind of remember this from about a week ago. What was I predicting? I mean, we almost called this to the penny, that after this green zone occurred, we were so close to like calling that so perfectly. Beautiful run. But here are my arrows of what, if I'm trying to predict of course, I'm still going to make an estimation on the highest time frame. I was not 100% correct here. It went even farther than I expected it to go. But does it matter? No. Remember, I'm not really trying to predict. But when we do, I tell you what, we crush it. Those are our bonus days. When I'm right on the money, when I was accurate, to the penny, we're in real good shape. I did expect that this give a little bump move here, come back in and do one of these numbers like we're going up and then wreck down. That was my anticipation. Are we there yet? No. Looks like we're up here. Do I know where we're going from here? No. Do I need to know where we are up here? No. But do I need to be able to predict the wave? Yes. You guys follow that. I want to go in the direction of the wave, in the direction of the tide. So first of all, let me ask something. Can you tell if the tide is rising or not? Yeah. Right. The tide is rising. The water levels are rising. Yes? So in all my trades right now, I start with number one thing is I want to establish a bias, and I want to go in the direction of the tide for my biggest trades. Remember what I just said. For my biggest trades, I want to ride in the direction of the tide, because you guys have all heard this, that a rising tide raises all ships, right? All ships rise with the rising tide. Yes. So doesn't matter what ship I jumped in. If I'm going with the tide and we're kind of rising, it's going to give me that extra boost. So my big positions in the tide, I won't belabor that point. You guys get it. Water concept. However, can I ride the wave when the wave is coming down? Of course I can, right? Of course I can. So what we're trying to do is ride this thing. We're trying to be expert surfers riding these waves. So the wave chart, though, is what we're focused in on for the optimization. This is part of our edge right here. Each week, and sometimes intra-week, I will do a new adaptation if like a new big news event comes out. There's some major earnings that just wreck the market. We get a big changeover because, I don't know, Alphabet does something with their numbers, or some market moving event. I will re-optimize so that we capture the new data that's coming in. Okay, you guys understand that? If you don't, that's okay. We'll get into the optimization process later, but just know that I'll handle this when we need to change this, but you need to know what to do with it. So you guys follow this, you know what to do, right? Your wave chart, you are loading it with the information on this column. Everybody get that? If you understand that, type me a 1. If you are still lost, type me a 2, and we'll go through it a little bit farther, but I think you guys get that. So how do I change that? I'm gonna give an example here. Let's say that next week, I need to change my tide chart. We got a new set of data come out, and it said ES is supposed to be on the 28 range. This is how you do it, okay? Put a note at this timestamp on the video. I'm about to show you how to change the range on any chart. Very simple. Click on the chart. Again, there are other ways to do this, so let me just start out by this. I'm showing you the tip and trick way of NinjaTrader, how I do this, so that I do it very quickly, because sometimes if I've got 7 instruments, do I really want to spend all day changing all these? No, I want to go fast. Everything I'm trying to do here is about efficiency, trading better and smarter, not slower, okay? So I'm going to come to the chart, click on it, and did I say 28? I think I did. So 28 range. I'm literally going to start typing. Remember, click, and I'm going to start typing 28. 28R. R stands for range. This is just the type of chart that we're going to do on this. So 28R, can you guys see this? You notice how all of a sudden the data series thing started to pop up? 28R, and then I'm going to press enter. Okay. 28R, enter. Now watch, at the top you'll see loading data. Okay, it takes a second, but watch, the screen will blink. There you go, done. Dun 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 dun. And all of a sudden you'll start to see some new things. Okay, I'm gonna do a few more of these just to kind of show you guys what would happen. So let's do 20R. Enter. Boom, done. Now, zooming out. Let's take a look. See how the chart changes slightly, but do you see how it's still much easier to read from a range chart than it is on minute charts? If you've been using minute charts for a long time, you should be having eureka moments right now, light bulbs going off like crazy because we're using range bars. But you need to know how to do this as part of our edge with ALGOBOX. Adjust week on week. Whenever I put out a new set of ranges that are optimized, let the bots do what the bots are good at. And this also loads up the underlying stuff like our harmonics, like our dots. All that stuff adjusts dynamically to this chart. It is important that you load this chart or our stuff will not be working right on your system. Everybody get that? If you get that, type me a 1. If you don't get that, type me a 2 and ask a question along with it. Okay. How does yours go so fast? Remo, because I've got a badass computer, brother. And numbers of days of data, etc., etc. But that's a good question. Put that over in the Ask Me Any Questions section, and I'll show you some tips on that. But right now, I'll say that on this one, on my data series, I've got 30 days of data on this chart. Okay, and yes, I can do it very quickly. Yours should also. If you have a good computer and you have done what I've told you to, go back to our hardware series. Look how fast that changed. This is how fast it should change on yours for the wave chart. Okay, if it doesn't, there's probably something wrong. Schedule a session with Curtis. He's our tech guy, or myself. You know, if he can't get around to it, you know, I'll always help you guys out as well. But yes, you should be able to do this very quickly. So I click on my ES chart, 24R, enter, bam. I look at my grid. I'm like, okay, I'm trading the NASDAQ. Okay, NASDAQ is supposed to be 25. Okay. Now I'm going to pull this down, although I have this on another area. Look, my NASDAQ is wrong right now, right? NASDAQ, you see this? It says it's 32. Well, I don't want 32. I want it to 25, right? So what am I going to do? Click in here. Bam. 25R. Enter. Wait for it. Hit that. Boom. Done. Okay? Now move on. That's all you got to do. Okay? Pow. All right. You get the point. Do that for each of the instruments that you're trading. Now, if you're a one instrument trader, that's fine. You just need to look at this grid, grab your one, and done. Okay. Now, other pieces of data that if you want to choose, I'll tell you here, again, this grid is very important. That's why I want you guys to learn how to read this here with us tonight in lesson 2. You see this average time in market. This is where your personality comes into play. I personally, this is Vinny, okay? My max that I can handle, okay? Mentally, for me not to be going crazy, okay? 20 to 40 minute trades, tops. Now, anything less than that, I'm perfectly fine with, right? More money, less time, perfectly awesome, okay? But I really don't want to hold a position longer than 20 to 40 minutes. That's me personally. So watch how easy this is for me to eliminate things that I don't want to trade today, okay? Do I want to trade 6E? 34 minutes? Nah. 6J, 189 minutes? No freaking way. Crude oil, 27.5? Maybe. I'll put a green by it. ES, 61 minutes? Nah. FDAX, 2 minutes? Yes, please. GC, 12 minutes? Yep, 4, 7, 10. You guys see, I can trade any of these, but I've already whittled down my list. What am I not going to trade? Okay. You guys get it. You guys are smart folks. I'm not going to trade this or this. You get the point, right? The reds I'm trading, the greens I'm not. I get an idea from this grid of how long I want to spend in my trades based on current market conditions. You follow that? Now, there's all kinds of other stuff you can read inside of here. Max Adverse Excursion. I've got an entire, I think there's like 2 videos on the net. Type in Max Adverse Excursion if you want to learn how I approach MAE. That's what this column is. MAE is Max Adverse Excursion. Most people don't even know what that is. Most people won't tell you and know that it's not moving average or exponential moving average, and it's not mistyped. That is MAE, Max Adverse Excursion. So if you're looking that up and you want to be interested in that, this is more advanced concept or topic. You can see right here to see how much drawdown per winner you're looking at. Okay, basically how much heat approximately. So you could base it on heat. Be like, I'm going to trade the instruments that have the absolute least amount of heat lately. Well, then you're up here 34 minutes on 6E. Okay, least amount of heat, maximum amount of reward. That may be the way that you choose your instruments that you're going to trade that day. Okay, this information grid is very important. Now, you could also go, look, here are, if you want to get into the robotic side of things, here are your stops and targets. Okay, so again, you can read all kinds of good information out of this chart if you want, but again, my focus for you guys, you only need this and this at the end of the day. Because you probably have chosen, like, you know, NASDAQ is never going to be a 20-minute trade, right? That's my favorite. ES is questionable. ES goes back and forth. I love ES. It's one of my favorites. But for me personally, when it gets longer like this, I don't want to hold the trade that long. So I'm going to be looking for faster instruments. So I'm going to come down here and trade some of its little, you know, brothers and sisters. I'm going to trade the Dow, the Russell, the NASDAQ that are also E-minis that kind of go along with the ES. And I'll use the ES as a guide, because these all kind of float together. Okay, those are more advanced concepts we'll get into future videos, but I want you guys to know how to use the grid, how we get our optimizations, that you need to know how to load up your charts before you get started into our strategies. The big picture concept, you need to understand how we're doing it and how we're filtering and not just taking every swing at every trade, every green thing that shows up on your chart, not every red thing that's showing up on your chart. We want to make sure that you're lining up, getting the proper confluence to execute, to get, you know, either if you are a scalper, fine, you can swing at everyone if you want. If you're like me, I like the middle. I like a little bit of a scalp. If I'm going to go for a big position, I'm always making sure I'm getting in on some large timings, which is one of our concepts we're going to talk about here tonight. Hold on one second. Okay, fun. We got people. We'll get into that later. I told myself tonight it's all about the techie stuff, so we're going to stay on track here tonight. We'll have some more fun with that a little bit later. Okay, so yes, we are going to follow through on some of these concepts here. And what are we on next? Timing? Okay, so we got our ranges. We got our charts all loaded up. Let's go into, back to, remember, structure. Okay, so order of operations. Number one, we got to hit that structure. Again, there will be another video just specifically only on order of operations. So if you're like, well, I'm hitting on a lot of things, come back. I promise. I just want you guys to catch these concepts here tonight in your mind, so that when you see these other videos specifically, these are the videos that are putting it together as we start out. Again, this is lesson number 2. We'll be getting into the nitty-gritty details of each one of these in future lessons. These are all going to build on each other, so always watch the video before you go in, start to tackle some of those. So as you mentioned, as we talked about earlier, very beginning, talked about the structure. I want to identify a structure, and around here I have coded this in. We released this in January 2019, so about almost exactly a year ago. We have brought in harmonic patterns into ALGOBOX. A harmonic pattern is a structure. Okay, watch this. Write this down, or just know this. Harmonic structures, well, I'll call them shapes because it would be redundant, are structures. Think about that. So if a harmonic shape is a structure, this is what I love about the newest version of ALGOBOX. I've told people who have come to me before where they're like, hey, Vinny, you used to draw a lot of wedges. Like back in the day, 2016, we used to watch your videos, and you were, your whole thing, you really wanted to draw a wedge. You'd identify a wedge, or you would draw in channels. But Vinny, like, I don't see you really doing those as much anymore. Like, what's up? Like, is it all changed? Do you not trade channels and wedges anymore? No, folks, I do. But what I've found is all right, you want to know a secret? I've become an even lazier trader than I was before, because now I rely on the harmonic structures to do a lot of my work. Okay, I always talk in here about trading smarter, not harder, doing things smarter, not harder. In life, I think that's beneficial. I think that's wise. So harmonic structures are actually very difficult to draw. If you have ever tried to draw a harmonic by hand, now this is one that's going to be a little bit tricky. If you've drawn a harmonic by hand, type a 1. If you've never drawn a harmonic structure by hand, type a 2. Okay? I want to see like if you guys have had the pain and the torture of ever having done these. If you have, you're going to understand what I'm going to talk about here in just a minute, why I believe harmonic structures are more powerful than what I call standard structures. And why I call them standard structures is because anybody can draw a wedge. Mr. Cook says no, he's never. Mr. Cook has been with me for... Mr. Cook, tell me, how long you been following me? You've been following me, you're a veteran around here. You're a 3-year, 4-year almost with me. And he's never drawn one. Kevin Chang, he's been around for a long time too. Like 2s, lots of 2s. Harmonic shapes, Brian, there's another long timer, has never drawn a harmonic pattern. Neon has, all right, Mr. Neon, he's been trading the markets for, Neon, tell us, how many years have you, okay, Mr. Cook's been with me for 3 years. Neon, how long have you been trading the markets? So he's familiar with harmonics and trading them by hand. Neon, can you briefly give an example on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the hardest, 1 being the easiest, how hard is it to draw a harmonic structure on the fly in real time by hand? He's been trading for 16 plus years. So again, veteran of the markets. How hard is it on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the hardest, 1 being the easiest, how hard is it to draw a harmonic structure in real time in live market conditions on one instrument, much less when we're chasing after and watching, 4 to 10. He's 10 plus. Okay. So he's like on a scale of 1 to 10. It's a 10 plus and 11. So my point of that, and Neon is just, reiterated to you guys, if you want to listen to a veteran, not just myself, yeah, on a moving chart, extremely difficult. Like maybe in hindsight, even on hindsight, it's still difficult, right? I'd put it on like a 7 or 8 on the scale. It's not a 10, but if you go backwards in time and try to find a harmonic, like, oh, here we go, here was a harmonic, right? And then identifying which one it was and measuring to make sure that it was exactly the right setup and exactly the right pullbacks and all those measurements that you have to do, extremely difficult, right? So where I'm going with that is, so harmonics are awesome. Let's just put it like that. And what we have done is put the power of harmonics in real time directly into your charts. Now, the higher the time frame, literally the more difficult to use. So let's go into, where do I want to find these? The harmonic structures on the bigger time frames, I am still usually trying to find levels, and I'm trying to find big structures like a turtle, like a wedge, like a channel on the highest of highest time frames. All at the same time though, when I get a harmonic, I'm still doing the same thing. I still am going to look for opportunities, especially on the wave chart. Now, am I going to do that necessarily on the tide? No, I really don't ever take any trades off of that. If you're a long-term holder, like, Tom Dante holds his trades for, 20 hours to like 3-4 days type of thing. You're a swing trader, you're holding stuff overnight. I personally don't like the stress of holding trades overnight and sleeping. I feel like I would always be waking up and looking at my phone or looking at, getting a walk over to my computer at night or something, and just, there's a little bit extra stress there that you don't need. Again, there's lots of ways to trade. We have our edge in the way that we work on it, a little bit different than others. But if you wanted to trade the bigger time frames, sure, trade off the 89. But let's get into the smaller time frames. Do I want to take these trades off the smaller time frames and where I don't have to be looking for the lower structures on my Ripple chart where I want to enter? Absolutely, right? So when we start to see structures, I'm going to show you guys some of my favorite trades here today. Let's use Twitter. By the way, this is a good plug in for the Twitter. If you are not following me over there on Twitter, and if you do want some of our, here we go, some of our
Dow.
best trades
Color
going on
dot
there.
alert for the
Let's
Dow.
scroll down here and
Nasdaq. Color
okay,
dot
so
alert
here's
for
one I stopped
Nasdaq.
out on earlier today. So let's start with a loss, because everybody's like, oh, Vinny only shows you winners. Really? Not true. So don't listen to people who say that. So look, stopped out right here. I kind of rubbed it in a little bit like, what? We just stopped out here. No big deal. Look, I'm trying to enter in at the tip of the spear here, right? You guys, well, those of you guys who know this strategy, you know what's going on here. My stop is right at the back of this box, okay? Here's my entry, there's my stop, okay? Small loss, no big deal. But what was the target on this? If I was gonna hit this target, whoops, I'm gonna hit green, okay? My green target from here, I'm looking at halfway down this leg for my target 1, right in this zone right here, okay? Now, if in this zone a green pops up, I can also get long here, but I've got shorts favorable, right? I got a red coming in right here. Now, at the time on my other charts, I had a timing line here as well. So I enter in right there. I'm like, oh, this is good. Let's see if we get her down here. And that's, you know, looking over here on ES. These are $12.50 a tick. That's a decent trade. Okay, but I stopped out.
NASDAQ.
Okay? So we'll start right there.
Color dog
with
alert
loss number
for
1.
NASDAQ.
But look how easy that is. On my structure, did I have to draw that cipher right there? Let me see if I can get it bigger. If you try to draw this cipher on your own by hand, and if you can do it accurately on the fly, you're a beast, okay? Because the measurement for this is you have to measure down leg to here, upward to here, downward to here, to project this square right here, and you'd have to know it by the time you got right here. Okay, and then as it's approaching,
NASDAQ.
you would have to
Color
know
dog
that,
alert
oh,
for
if you
NASDAQ.
measured all of that, and then you had this location, oh, this is a harmonic, and then you would have to figure out, okay, well, how much risk do I have to take? So, you know, this thing gets into a crazy calculation set for you as a human, extremely, extremely difficult to do, but for a bot, we let the bots do what the bots are good at, and these are just gonna be drawing on your chart for you, so structures are just popping out of nowhere. That's what's great. It's like all the stuff I would have to do by hand, I can kick back, relax, take a swing. I'm looking for a target down below. Halfway is target 1, and of course I can put on some runners to see, I mean, maybe we get the big drop down. Awesome, and we get those big runner trades, and of course we are always trading with multiple contracts on our system. Okay, but I just want to reiterate, structures, if you've been finding out like, well, you don't see any drawn structures on lower time frames anymore, well, that's because I have almost become completely reliant on structures that are being drawn for me, whether it's a cipher, whether it's a bat, whether it's a crab, whether it is a monster crab, a deep crab, whether it is a diamond, if it is a shark. Oh my word, sharks. Oof, that is like my absolute favorite. It's hard for me to not swing at a shark. Like, I pretty much take every shark. You guys know I'm like a shark addict. If a shark shows up, I'm gonna swing at it. And today, we got a bat shark, a bat plus a shark laying on top of each other. This is called a multi-harmonic. And again, I know I'm dumping a lot on you guys here tonight, but just know that you're gonna learn these. Don't freak out that you're like, oh, Vinny's, you know, turn on the fire hose. I know it kind of feels like that right now, but let me just give you a taste to show you how easy this is to learn. If you want to learn these things specifically, head over here on the left-hand menu. Oh, I'm over here. I'm in chat. You guys can hear me over here? Oh, well, I'm in Markets Live. Okay. Down here, go to Education. Under the Education category, these are all of our strategies over here. Okay, so if you're like, oh, what about that shark thing Vinny's talking about? Neon said, also calculating the gap percentage of the harmonic points of single. Oh, yeah. And do you do it to an exact? And then do you leave a little play, right? And how do you calculate how much? And by the way, what's the ATR right now to know what's a real leg and what's not a leg? I do all that calculation internally based on what you set on your range. Isn't that cool? So again, dynamic in a way that you can't get it. So all the harmonics, you want to learn those, how we do those, how we use them. Look at this right here. Harmonics, pictures worth 1,000 words. There are lots of pictures to come in here and take a peek at. And let me show you guys the shark, particularly shark back strategy is a strategy all by itself for point of entry. These sharks right here, if you want to learn them, go look at these pictures. I promise you can probably pick up on how to trade the shark back, trade entry, just by going in here and looking at the pictures, because again, pictures worth 1,000 words. So this is not as hard. If you are, feeling a little overwhelmed right now, just give it a little time. Anything worth doing is worth taking the time to do it. Always remember that. Let's see, any chats that I missed in the room there? Just to confirm, harmonics are based on ratios of highs and lows, not Fibonacci, right? No, Wayne, there's a mix of that. Harmonics are based on ratios of highs and lows, yes. but not Fibonacci? False. There are still Fibonacci levels. Like a lot of these actually are Fibonacci levels for the pullbacks, like 618, 127, the 100%, the 200%, the 33.6, all of those fib number sequences tie in together with the harmonics, which is also why they're powerful. It's like combining the power of multi-fib with timing, with ratios of high to lows, with standard pullbacks, with ratios of pullbacks. It's very powerful. There's so much that go into them. You could do a whole study on just harmonics themselves. You know, I didn't invent harmonics. You can go study harmonics all day if you want. Again, our strategy for attacking the market is taking all of that conceptual stuff that you would, take years to go and study, and then forget study there, then application would take you even longer, especially by hand. And what we've done is basically created a smartphone. Okay, the smartphone way to do it. Like, you don't need to know how you're calling somebody in the UK on a WhatsApp, right? But you can just click a button on your phone and you're doing it. You have no idea the cool technology that's going on behind the scenes, how it gets there and how you're having that communication. But that's what we've done. What's up, Big Simon? Good to see you, my friend. So the shark, one of my favorites. So we'll show a couple more from today. This is a multi-harmonic entry. Anytime our system can show you when multiple things are lining up. So this is a bat crab with two PRZs laying on top of each other. If you want to know what the PRZ is, that's a potential reversal zone. Okay, and I've got two of these laying on top of each other.
NASDAQ.
This increases the
NASDAQ.
likelihood of me wanting to take this position short. And sure enough, look at the bust out of here. Okay, beauty. And I'm a beast. All right, and we got shorts favorable with us. Of course, we're going to take that. We're going to take that one. Okay. Any questions around that? Hit me up. And let's show one more example from today. It was this one tick wonder. Okay, this one gets a little more advanced. But this is a one tick wonder play from earlier today that combined one of those harmonic structures, right? What structure did I have here? I had a butterfly. What did I have on the bigger time frame? Bat crab that was literally reaching all the way out from here to here. Okay, now, do I just take this one? I could have. Got a little bit out of it. But I got a red dot right here, so that's my exit point. But can I take this? You bet your butt. Okay, go look at the one tick wonder. I got a one tick wonder plus yet another harmonic, and bam, and what do we have here? We're looking at a turtle that we can take if we had gotten a green dot over here. I don't remember how the rest of that played out today. I think it actually went up right there because we ended up high today. Yeah, so everybody's all like, oh, the sky is falling, market's coming down. No, it ain't. Market's riding up like a beast. Let us see. ALGOBOX, freaking ball. Okay, this is one of our members crushing it last night. Holy shnikes. Look at this one off the rails. This is one of our members, not me. Taking the red dot off of the harmonic structure, looking up here at the algo matrix. Again, I won't get into that here tonight, but again, we got so many things that help add to our confluence of location. And look at this dropout. Crushed it. Now, again, there was a little bit of an extra move last night, so I don't want to be like, oh, yeah, this is what you're going to do every time. We're going to crush this every time. On occasion, though, you get these big ones, big hitters, knock them out of the park. Okay, well, Wayne says, I know mo harmonics, mo better. Yes, more is better, exactly. When they line up, absolutely. So would a larger harmonic structure be stronger than a smaller harmonic on the same chart? Yes, absolutely. Yes, but remember, stronger is relative, so you get a higher reward opportunity. What does that come with? Higher reward, higher risk. So let's look at that real quick. So he's got a question. Here's my little dude. We're eating popcorn. Here he's pulling out the popcorn. Diet 2020. Trying to eat more popcorn. Oh, there's the littlest guy. He's also exercising. Obviously, he's getting his cycles on. All right. So what are we talking about? Sorry, I got distracted by my children. They're awesome. Oh, was this one a good one? Oh, yeah. So look, we got harmonic structures. Look at the PRZ. Perfect. Look at this.
Color dog alert.
Wouldn't you like to take that one right there? You darn straight you would. Shorts favorable. Red box. Get target 1, target 2, runner. Yeah. and we're going to hold that until you see a green. So where's your exit? There's your first exit right there. That's half the position. It breaks. What do? Add it back. Half on, half off, add. And you're not exiting this position until we get way, way down there. And you guys can learn that strategy as you get into your final 40 days of our strategies. Wayne, it would also be more the type of pattern for reliability and strength. Yep. So let's talk about what Wayne's saying. Is a bigger harmonic more powerful? Let's look at this screenshot right here. Great example and a great question. Perfect thing. Lots of people can learn from it. You guys ask amazing questions. Great stuff. So we got the bat crab coming in right here. And look at this. You guys can tell just visually, and there's no trick to this, okay? Is this a big harmonic compared to this butterfly right here? Yeah, it is. Okay, so he's asking, is a big one more powerful than a small one? Relative. Does it have more opportunity to be a beast? Well, sure, except always remember, check that favorable direction before you start swinging any of these. But in general, yes. Can a big move come out of one of these right here? You bet your butt. But, and there's a lot of buts in that statement, the PRZ is also larger. Okay, so this just makes sense. Let's do this on a blackboard here. So on a, let's do our yellow here. So if we have some form of harmonic and the PRZ, on the PRZs are going to be relatively the same size. So a relative one on this is going to be a green one. Let's do a control. And so the PRZ on this is going to look approximately like this. Okay. Every shape in all of these, now these ours adapt based on current market conditions, and the ATRs is the primary thing that this comes off of, as well as the max adverse excursion per instrument. Okay, but just know that relatively, these are almost always approximately the same size relative to the size of the entire, let's do another color here, how about some red? To the size of the structure. So this structure would fit right here. Okay, so this structure, these two boxes, box 1, box 2, are related, right? So on a smaller time frame, while this on a larger time frame may represent 200 ticks, okay, on a smaller time frame, this might be 20. So the question from Wayne that he's asking is, so is a bigger one more powerful? Obviously, yes, but that's relative. The pop from it, right? What are the pop? We're looking for target 1 at 50% up the leg on most of these. Okay, so don't quote me like there are some that this is not the case. But if I'm looking for the return to be target 1 here, then power is also relative. You got it? Oh yeah, he's got it. And I think you guys too. So I won't belabor the point here in the minutia of this, but we'll get into this in the harmonics training specifically. But you guys can get the picture that these are relative, and that on a larger range, it's bigger. On a smaller range, it's smaller. And the size of it, right? Like on this one in that screenshot I just showed you a minute ago, that the risk may also be higher though as well. So you're going to have to take your risk is at the back of the box, right? So you always got to be careful of that. The size of that box matters. I showed you guys that loss that I took earlier. This is a very small loss, right? Can you see that my loss? Look how small that box was. Okay, on this one, this wasn't much at all. I'm looking over here on the right. So if we're in at 50, the stop is at 13s. So 4 ticks. No, less. Was that 2 ticks? I think it was like 3 ticks. But you get the point. Like if I'm entering in at the front of this box, you know, this is like what, a 3-tick stop out? So big for a big whoop. I could even get back in on this if it ends up starting to break down, which in fact sometimes these do this and it breaks through like this. I will re-enter right here and take a second swing at it and add a contract to it. Right? Hey, what's up, Big J? Thanks for saying hello. Question said, Mr. Cook, is the same for dots. Larger, longer dots have more reward potential. No. And then there's the difference. With dots, not the same. No. In fact, oftentimes, now they can, based on the color. A blue dot versus a dark green versus a light green. That's what matters on the dots. So we're getting into those. I need to do separate videos on those. They'll be very quick to the point. But there's only 3 types of dots. The size of the bounce off of those is dependent on the color, not necessarily the size of the structure. That just says there's a whole lot of confluence right there. The structure itself is almost agnostic. You don't know. We're getting target 1 at 10, target 2 at 15, target 3 at 25, almost every one of those, and we're trying to ride a bigger position, okay? But again, these structures are more important. This is why people put too much emphasis on those dots, and why, you know, I get trolled all over the internet for the dots thing. The dots are badass. They give me a very pinpoint entry location for it, but I have a very tiny stop right back behind that dot as well, which you guys learned from video number 1, right? But yeah, that's a great question. As far as the size of that, let's go ahead, and I know I'm waving my arms around. He knows what he's talking about, but people who are new, we're talking about, so we get one of these structures, and at the end of it, what's the key combo for this? Is it Alt or circle? Nope. Is it Control? Nope. About Shift? Nope. And Tab? Aha, it's Tab! Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. All right, so the dot on this would be a green dot, and so the dot shows up right here. So his question was, the size of this structure would this mean that this dot is going to be more powerful or less powerful, so a bigger one is more powerful? No, but it is riskier. In fact, the bigger this thing gets, the bigger the risk. Okay, so the bigger this box gets, the bigger the risk, so be careful. In fact, I would rather take a headshot, which is what I call the dots, right? As far as video gaming.
Alert.
I want the structure in, and I want to see a little small one of these up in an area where I'm already moving in my direction. I'll give an example. Let's do one. You guys know that we all love, here, we'll do an action shot one right now by bringing over we'll bring this over right now. Okay, so thanks, Doug. You learning a lot? All right, so I'm gonna type exclamation mark, roll it. This gives a great example why I have this one in here all the time. Oh, I'm not gonna be able to zoom that for you guys, am I? Let's see. Ooh, yeah, I am. Haha, the magic of technology. So, do I really want a big dot like some crazy? The question is, and this is actually a farce that people need to get past, and when they're using this stuff in their 2-week free trial, they do get confused by this. They're like, oh, this is a big one, so that must mean that this thing, like I can take this thing and it's going to be a beast, right? I'm going to get all this no, not necessarily. Okay, in fact, the bigger this is, the bigger the risk. Okay, my reward actually comes in getting a pinpoint entry location like on this one here, or these up here. Look, these are actually very small, but this is a double dot scenario, right? Wouldn't I want to take this right here and ride this beast? Yes. Okay, this little green dot in here, that's a tough one, but why would I want to do that? Just go with shorts favorable. But now we get this wrecking crew coming down on this trade, and what do we see here? We know this is a bat. If you've been following our strategy, and I don't mean the harmonic, this is our bat entry. And so you get a big drop down, shake, leg, shake, shake. Everybody thinks they're coming down. We do this for a little bit, and then we boom, right? Do I want a green dot right here? Yes, I do. Do I want it to be nice and small? Yes, I do. I just want a pinpoint entry location that says, boom, there's my green dot. And remember, this is just a final entry point that gives us that boom headshot, but I've got to have other things. I still got to line the guy up. I still got to check the wind direction. I got to make sure I got a clear shot. And then when I've got his headshot, you know, in my line of sight, boom, I want to pull that trigger with a very small stop. Okay. And a big, big target. Right? Target zone. Right up there for that trade. Okay. So in this position where we see this show up here on this Giphy, where we rocked out, this guy is doing a trap. We see and identify the trap. Awesome. We get wrecked up. Awesome. What looks like our structure is, we got the bat looking up. I got a green dot. Sure, I'm going to take a shot at this. Where's my target? You see that thing right there? You see that how it's gold? Let's zoom in right here. Those of you guys who are new, That's actually a predicted PRZ right there for the harmonic, which is going to function as my target 1. If I got a harmonic in my sights and it's part of this structure, again, fib, and I've got a fib timing dot that also has this fluorescent green. Again, fluorescent green is more powerful than forest green. I got a fluorescent entry here. You're darn straight I'm going to at least take a shot at that. Okay, this is a high probability strategy entry, and I'll go ahead and take a swing. Boom, boom, it moves, and it eventually goes crack, and I hit all my targets. The only thing I was frustrated about on this trade when I did take the screenshot of this, but I was already at my target for the day, was that I didn't hold some runners on this one, because watch this beast end up going kaboom! All right, and then she goes even farther. Watch. Wham! Like, could I have predicted that it was going to go way up there? No. Do I try to predict that it's going to go way up there? No. Do I know that sometimes it does that? And would I like to ride that on a bonus day? You betcha. But I had already hit bonus day. I was at 67.70 that day. Anything over 4K for me is bonus day. And at that point, I had already been wrecking it, had a great day. And yeah, I wasn't anticipating that. But this is a great example of this is how you're supposed to play this. If you're in a small account, large account, doesn't matter. I'm looking for using that dot after a trap to get that play. Don't a dot itself. Please, folks, pay attention to this. Anybody who trolls me on this, tell this to them. The dot is not a strategy. Okay, it's got a little rhyme to it. The dot is not a strategy. The dot is an entry, but an entry is required to have preface, structure, direction, trend, trap, entry, plus timing. And we're going to get to timing here at the end. How long are we into this video? I'm already longer than I want to be. Holy crap, we're at an hour. Okay, final thing. We want to get into, should I save timing for another video? We've covered a lot here. I'm going to try to get into timing here. We may do some more in the next video, but let's zoom this back here. So the final thing that you want with our structure, okay, then we're getting off track even on the operations. I'm gonna do another video specifically on order of operations. It's just order of operations. Let's go ahead and get into the timing for one of these entries so that you guys get a well-rounded, good piece of work coming here tonight. So you guys are gonna always hear us talk about SMLK. Okay, when you hear me talk about timing, timing your entry. Okay, and you'll also hear us commonly refer to it as, where's your timing? Okay, dot is only a signal, part of a piece of a trade, setup or an exit. Even an exit, that's right, exactly. We talk about how we use the dots, but oftentimes when people just install our stuff for the first time, they're like, oh, so the dot's an entry and the red dot's an exit. That's true. Once you have these other pieces, which are order of operations, structure, go in the direction of the tide, you have your setup, you got the structure, you got the point of entry. Yes, but timing is important. Okay, this is one of the most important things. In fact, in my opinion, what puts, like, you want to talk about our edge, the way that we time our strategies is extremely important. And why this matters is something called, you guys might have heard this, you guys have read some books on the interwebs. You guys heard this concept? Accumulation, distribution. Okay, you'll kind of sometimes hear me say ACDC. Okay. Oops, apparently I can't type it all tonight. ACDC. All right. Accumulation, distribution. Don't ask me how the C gets in there, but it's a band. Okay. Easy way to remember it. ACDC, ACDC, ACDC. I'm always looking for accumulation, and we want to ride the distribution. If you catch this right, this is where the money is. Right? Accumulation is a zone where the prices and the contracts are being exchanged, where a position mover, and by a position mover, who's that? The market movers. Institutions, hedge funds, banks move in the markets. They have to collect contracts before they can move the market, right? They have to accumulate them before they can distribute them. Easy concept. There's a whole video on that, but we're running through it here quickly. The reason that timing works is because we are wading through accumulation. We are trying to execute before or during the distribution. Okay? If you guys understand that concept, type me a 1. If you're a little bit lost on the ACDC thing, type me a 2. I'm going to show you an example, and then I'm going to show you timing, and then we'll wrap up here for tonight, and we'll move into lesson 3, later this week. Okay. All right. Timing your entry. Accumulation distribution. Let's draw up an example. So here is how markets move. They move in a distribution. Actually, let's start with accumulation because that's how we do it, right? So we're going to accumulate. First, accumulation always looks something like this, okay? This is accumulation. Now you might be say, well, on what time frame? Would it just follow the picture and I'll show you the distance in just a minute, okay? Accumulation, stuff that's working in a zone. Stuff that's working inside of a, what's the word? We're looking inside of chop zone. There we go. That's the word I was looking for. Chop zone. So people will refer to accumulation. Oftentimes, they'll call it a chop zone. Oops. Commonly referred to as chop zone. Okay, like, oh man, I got chopped up in here. Oh, I got chopped up. Oh, I got chopped out. Oh, I got, you hear all those things. Excuses, excuses. Well, inside of that accumulation zone, you really probably shouldn't be messing around there. You're not big enough. Most of you guys, none of us really, unless you're a beast and you start listening to me. Okay, fantastic. But I think these guys already know this stuff. You're not. Is the beehive an example of accumulation? No, beehive is a very specific thing that's happening that forms a trap and a move. That's more of an entry point, but it's a good question because you're kind of thinking, the chop thing. So chop, accumulation, okay? And what we'll typically do in here is I'm gonna draw a box around this, typically blue, just for designation purposes. Accumulation. And remember, where do we make our money? On the distribution, right? Accumulate. And just because my size here, I'm gonna rack here, and then, okay, this is where we make our money. Now, you might wanna go, well, why did I draw this little thing up here first? Well, because oftentimes, after the big guys are done accumulating in their area, they need to wreck people first. So oftentimes, even though we're coming down here, they know where we wanna go. Okay, well, they're first gonna get everybody to think we're going long, right? How many times have you guys seen this? Okay, a break out of a zone, you get all the breakout players going, yay, we're gonna win, right? And then all of a sudden it goes, okay. So to avoid all this though, accumulation, and then here we have our distribution leg. Oops. Distribution, all right? And this is what everybody wants to hit. And oftentimes this is gonna be referred to as this is going to be referred to as the impulse leg if it's something before, but later on, hindsight, they're usually calling this an impulse leg. Okay, but I like to call this the money leg. Okay, this is where I want to make the money. I want to see if I can capture that move. Little kick in the package for some good measure. Yeah, right. They want to wreck you up here, and then we're dropping it out. And if you are on the right side of this, you make money, right? It's the simple name of the game. Choosing the right direction at the right time, which is what our tools help you to do. Hopefully what you're going to see is a harmonic. Let's get into it. Like, let's just be straight up. What we want to see inside of here is a nice looking, maybe a harmonic pattern that looks something like this. All right, inside of here, and it's like, by the way, hey Vinny, this PRZ right here, pow pow pow, and then maybe inside of here I also maybe get a red dot, even better, right? If I got some move, it looks something like this, maybe coming into this area, even better. It probably look like this actually, but you get the point. This is what we're trying to do. We're trying to line up one of these. And kapow, where we catch the whole thing, which happens a lot. That's what our system is designed to do, FYI. You guys getting this? Are we all putting this together now? You guys feeling pretty good about this? Okay. We want to make money on the distribution leg. Make kick in the package. I forget ALGOBOX, exactly. So accumulate, distribute. And then this happens over and over again, okay? Just remember 2 ways that things are happening. Accumulate, distribute. Accumulate, distribute. Okay? Let's go to our next slide here. Okay, so in our accumulation distribution, here is, oops, it's just some P for price. So the markets are typically going to look like this. We got that distribution leg. We got the accumulation, done, that distribution leg. Then here, we're gonna do a little trap maybe. We're gonna accumulate some more, accumulate. Just, you notice, like, the market doesn't just go like this. Now, again, depends on your time frame, but you get my point. You're always going to have AC, DC, AC, DC. And what we're trying to do is catch that money here, right? Don't get caught up in the accumulation zone. UK, you posted an example on Discord today? Oh, perfect. Yeah, hit me up in Discord here in a little bit and we'll go through it. On the beehive. Yeah, he's talking about the beehive. That's a whole, we got a whole section we'll do on that, on the beehive entry. Oh, ACDC and a harmonic. Oh, even better. Oh, cool. Post it again. Actually, do me a favor. Post it again right now. Don't make me go look for it. Post it again one more time, and I'll take a look at it here at the end of the video where we covered the Ask Me Any Questions section. All right, so we're looking for those money legs through accumulation distribution. This is how we look at things, and our system gets us the best entry points for those, and we are looking to exit on the opposing color signals. Okay, so if I enter in on a red harmonic, I got a red harmonic PRZ, I'm looking to exit on a green dot or a green PRZ. And again, I'm not going to get into half on, half off ad, but those of you guys who get to the final 40 days of our program, you'll learn how I maximize positions by riding those runners. It's there now. Perfect. All right, I'll take a look at it. Thank you, UK. So that's how we're going to be riding this. Accumulation distribution, right? So how do we do it? Timing. So full swing back. That's how the markets move. This is how the internals work. We know how markets move. So how do I time my entry? This is the most important part. Now that you understand that, we can go right into our final concept here. We're going to be talking about here tonight on SMLK. And this is about timing. Timing your entry. Okay. And I'm going to talk about timing lines. We have these on full auto for platinum members that are automatically going to be drawn to these. I'm not going to show all the different ways that we do this here tonight, but I want you to understand the concept based on accumulation distribution. We will get into the details of those in the lessons, or the lessons that are already there from, we've had them for 4 years out there. They haven't changed, but we have gotten better with harmonics and J-hooks and two-finger salutes that are all now fully automated, or that can show up for you in the algo that were not there maybe 4 years ago. So here we go. Timing. We want to time that entry inside of that accumulation zone. How do I do it? Well, typically inside of that accumulation distribution, in the accumulation going like this, there are, well, I'll use my Darvis box example. I am going to measure out SMLK does not represent skim milk. Yes, I actually gave a good point. I'm going to go ahead and put that in right now. SMLK. Start to think about this. S, and you hear me talking to them in the room, and I'm like, SMLK. And you're like, what in the world is Vinny smoking? What is he talking about? Okay. SMLK. Small, medium, large, king size. All right, if you've been to McDonald's, you can handle this concept. We'll move on. I am looking to capture, don't you, if you're going to choose, like, I mean, unless you're on a diet, like all of us are because it's 2020 beginning again. But you know what I'm saying? Your body wants the king size, right? We want the king size fries. And they're like, oh, we're in Texas. We're like, king size me, right? Give me the big gulp drink. Give me the gigantic fries so I can, eat myself into oblivion. But you get the point. We want this. What color should I use here? Orange? Here we go. We want this, don't we? We want a large or a king size trade. So what I teach folks in here is how to choose your timing during an accumulation phase. Listen to me right now. Inside of an accumulation phase, how to time when this thing might take off on a large or king size timing location to catch the big move, which will most of the time, the majority, I'd say like 80% of the time. Do I have another color alternative here? Red. Here we go. Like 80% of the time, L or king timing for the distribution leg. That's what you need to know. So how do I do it? How do I catch the large or king size timing. I'm going to show you guys our technique how to do this. You can do this by hand, or if you're a platinum member, these automatically kick out for you. But we're measuring structures, and there are several ways to do this. You can measure Darvas box, a structure, or an impulse leg. So I'm going to write those down here. 3 things that you can measure. Okay, things that can be measured. Okay. How about I just DB? How about D box? Darvas box, structure, impulse leg. These are our things that we can measure. Okay, so I'm going to give this example here. We're going to do the impulse leg here, just for simplicity's sake, and then I'll give you an example of. I'm going to skip Darvas boxes. That's an entire strategy in itself. We're going to do a structure and an impulse leg, and then we'll be done here tonight. All right, so hang with. Here we go. Impulse leg is this guy right here. Top. Now let's do a little. It's going to be a pivot. Okay, we're looking for pivots. Okay, and I'm not going to get into pivots. You guys know what those are. Everybody who's here, if you don't know what a pivot is, you're probably not here, to be honest. So there are pivots. That just means a turning point, right? And I want to measure this with my fib timing tool. So here comes where fib timing tools come in, but we use, this is where it's crazy, we do everything different around here, folks. Dow theory timing. I won't get into it tonight on why this is. You just got to trust me. Vinny, I've seen you draw your fib timing extensions from Darvas boxes and from fib dot structures. Which do you suggest? All the above, my friend. All of them. You're always measuring timing. Always. In fact, I always tell people, like anybody who starts to struggle with their stuff, I'm like, did you draw the timing? Draw the timing on that and see if that was the right entry. And they're like, oh crap, it was on a small. I'm like, exactly. And what did you try to hold for? A large. Exactly. Everything. Always draw. Okay, but I'll give the examples of the ones that you guys ask. If you want a specific example, type it in. I'll go ahead and do it. Okay, but I'm planning right now to show you the impulse leg and drawing a structure. Dow theory timing. So I'm going to measure from here to here. I'm going to measure that with my fib timing tool, and it is going to project out 4 lines if you use my settings. So again, don't just use the default. Your timing will be all wrong. Okay, you need to use ALGOBOX. In fact, if you've installed ALGOBOX, this is already set for you. You don't have to do anything. Okay, so again, if you got ALGOBOX rate, but I know there's people here watching this and trying to learn our theory stuff, fine. But just make sure you change your settings in your fib timing tool, which is weird, right? Because we're not doing fib timing, we're doing Dow theory timing, but they call it the fib timing tool. That's why I'm saying it. It's literally press F10. The key, if you want the shortcut for it in NinjaTrader, it's F10. Okay, in NinjaTrader. This is on all versions, but we'll just go NT7, also 8, F10. To get the timing tool, we measure from here to here. It's going to project out a small, a medium, a large, and a king size. So what I typically do is green. Where is my shift key? Here we go. Okay, so the first one's going to project out probably this location. Then I'm going to go red. Probably going to get me this location. Then I'm going to get me blue. Shift. It's hard to keep the keys all straight here. And finally, I was about to do pink. That kind of sucks. How about we're going to do an orange for our color's sake here on our... should we do yellow? Yeah, do yellow. All right, most important one. So here we go. Gold. Right here. All right, S, M, L, and K. So S, M, L, K are these lines right here. S, M, L, and K. If you were just to do this, like there's like a way that if you just want to change your trading starting tomorrow, if you just pull out the fib timing tool, the next time you see an impulse leg, measure down and stop yourself from taking any trades, like literally blank out the screen. Do not trade anything until that fib timing tool tells you this line has crossed and you see the price come out right here. Now you can enter. If you just did that today, tomorrow, this will probably change your P&L like overnight. Okay, Big tip here. It's why it's so important. If you were just to wait through accumulation, if you didn't get yourself caught in the chop zone, how many times, again, you guys see it all over the place on Twitter, or anybody complaining in a forum or a chat room, like, oh man, I got caught up in the chop zone. I got caught in the chop and slop. This alone will stop you oftentimes from getting caught up in that at all. Now, the market can sometimes chop indefinitely, so there's nothing that we can stop from that, but I actually tell you all the time, like the impulse leg is the weakest thing that you're gonna measure. Now, I'm just giving this example. If you were to measure an impulse leg and you wanted to know, okay, after the impulse leg, I want to get involved. This is one way that you could do it by simply
NASDAQ.
using that tool
Color dog alert for
right
NASDAQ.
there to just say, do not take a trade unless you are, and for us in here, I'm not going to take an entry unless I am here, or I guess you should do this in orange, if I am here or here. This is the money shot. Larger king size entry lands right here. What strategy structure shows up at that point, the system will tell you. All you got to do is wait for it. This is how you wait for your timing. Time that entry. Timing is everything. You hear that all the time in life. Timing, and then size accordingly to your targets and your risk levels. That's part of the patience and discipline of waiting on a viable trade setup, not to overtrade. That is true. You guys remember from video number 1, we talked about this one, right? This, using this sheet, can stop you from overtrading. Got 5 trades. Think of that concept. Again, these are for new traders. Not like I'm not saying, Vinny says only trade 5 trades. No, I'm saying this is what you should start with. Your mindset should be, you should be able to get good money out of 5 trades. And if you don't, you need to practice. Okay, 5 trades can stop that from you, and timing. These 2 things alone, if you just only took those, will stop you from overtrading, will get you into good locations where you're going to catch the distribution leg. And even if you're wrong on the first move, the second one's going to come and it's probably going to be the big move. So you stop out once, watch the other side, there she goes, and oftentimes that king size move, how many times you see the big move come after that big pink king timing line, right? Wayne says, speaking of timing directional bias, how do you handle price action that whipsaws back and forth between longs favorable and shorts favorable? Don't fiddle in the middle, baby. Don't fiddle in the middle. So he's asking some complicated stuff. He's talking about, the advanced level. Well, what do you do when the thing's slipping back and forth? Number 1, don't fiddle in the middle. It's not necessarily a place you want to be playing. You need to identify the structure. There's probably no structure there if you are seeing that. And remember, the favorable direction is good as the day progresses. But if that is in question, what do you lean to? I talked about that in that previous video. What did I say? Right? I answered that in the previous video, but we'll answer it again. Favorable is what we want to go off of. But if you want more details on favorable right now, when you're like, I don't know what to do, like it's riding at the open, because that's what happens. At the open, we got this, there's an imbalance. We really don't know what the favorable direction is. It's flipping back and forth. Then I want to know higher time frames, other time frames. What am I doing? Number 1, you go with the tide. If the tide is sideways or you don't know, then look at the algo matrix. Okay, that's the answer. We'll go into those in some other videos, but the answer is if favorable direction, you look there first because that's the easy one. But if you're like, favorable is not favorable right now, let me look at the algo matrix. That's my secondary that I'll always look to. I won't even probably look at the tide. Like I usually already know what the tide is doing, right? We all know, look, the market's moving up like crazy, right? I already know that. But if later on, because the market's not always going to go up forever like it is right now, later on, what you should do is rely on the algo matrix. We put that tool together so that you could see all the time frames at once. And if the majority of it is green, we're getting long. If the majority of it is red, we're getting short. If it's half and half, leave it alone. Ain't a time to play, right? You do not have to trade all the time. Always remember that. No FOMO. Just kick back. Wait until you got stuff in your favor. Knock it out of the park. Great question, sir. And I hope we answered that well. Final things before we wrap up. Let's hit the Ask of Any Questions section. Make sure that we answered any of those. If you guys got any last minute ones, pop those over there. Wayne said, cool. How do you treat piercer dots? Oof, I'll have a whole lesson on that one. I'm going to skip on that one for now. When you wait for your entries, red fish, one fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish, I believe. I understand that theory, but a rehash couldn't hurt. Okay, so on that SMLK, very simple. I'm going to answer this one right here. So the question that he's asking, yeah, no worries, my friend. You got it. Just look at the algo matrix. That's the answer for that one. So you got the timing lines. We'll do them in some yellow. 2 and 3 and 4. And hold on. Shoot. So the 1 fish, 2 fish, red fish, blue fish. All right. Oh shoot, wrong screen. One more time.
Dow. Color dog alert for the Dow.
All right, markets are opening up right here. Getting crazy. Okay. So the shift. He's talking about 1 fish, 2 fish, red fish, blue fish. So we're coming in reds here. Oops, hold shift. Red. What I'm looking for, if I want to enter in on a large timing, red fish, blue fish. Okay, I want to enter in right there. Now remember, we're talking about algo bars. Okay, now this is specific to him. If you guys are lost on this, doesn't matter. I'm talking to Wayne here, answering his question. 1 fish, 2 fish, red fish, blue fish. I am looking for that price to enter right there. And why it's red to blue? Because our colors of our bars are red going down, blue going up. That's why it's the Dr. Seuss thing. I play off that whole thing. I try to do everything to help your mind to remember things. Little cliches, little songs, little things that you can refer back to. Those are called memory pegs. I'm memory pegging you so you can remember these things. So 1 fish, 2 fish, red fish, blue fish. So the first bar, 1 fish, 2 fish, blue. This is how we're going to enter into this trade. Okay, so same thing over here. If we were to come in and this were to go up and blue and we're coming through on the other side and then we go red, entry is here, entry is here. This one we're going long. This one we're going short. Confirmation in a sense. No, this is the perfect entry. Not necessarily confirmation, but if I want to get the pinpoint entry, I'm not just going to, okay, we crossed the line, I'm entering right here. No. 1 fish, 2 fish, red fish, blue fish, go back and watch that video, is I'm looking for the turn. I still need a turn there. I'm not going to just, oh, I'm on the line and execute. Okay. I can enter in as this thing turns. I might add my first, like I dip my toe in the water, like I'm adding in maybe 2 contracts. Okay. But then I'm probably, for me, I really like to wait until I get a dot. Let's give an example of a dot here. So I'm going to get a, this is being a big mess up here. All of a sudden in here, the price is coming up and I want to see maybe a red dot right here after the king timing, because price is moving into this zone. Red dot shows up right here. This is now defined by what? A king, right? Because this is SMLK. This is going to be a king entry. So this one, this red dot, this defines whether or not this red dot has more power or less. So this one I really want to maybe load up on, or maybe not load up on, but instead of maybe taking off my first 10 target and a 15, I may want my first target to be down here, because this could be potential a king. So this one I might start pushing my targets out and see if this bad boy goes, right? Because this one, that might be my target 1. I'm looking for target 2 way down here because I'm hoping that I have caught the perfect distribution leg where this bad boy is going to do one of these for me, and I turn this into a 50 or 100 tick trade based on, sweet, I caught the king timing, I got location, which in real estate is the biggest things ever, and so goes our trading here with ALGOBOX. Great question. 1 fish, 2 fish, red fish, blue fish simply refers to the shift from one color to the other color as the bar changes over and we get a pivot. All right, Crazy Dog says, these ALGOBOX are facilitating everyone's lives in so many aspects. Auto timings, harmonic dots, 2-finger salutes, all simplifying things. One topic you mentioned before getting into trading is analyzing structures. We just talked about that. Great. Some structures are more preferable than others. Yes, harmonics over others. What you usually like to see? Structure? As long as I see structure, I can make a decision. Please comment on some video, and remember, talk about trap. Difficult recognizing them. Okay, there's a whole thing on traps. That's hard to recognize, but I kind of gave you guys some examples in this video, so I think we kind of covered this one. But Raylan will definitely come back and we'll watch the trap video, and we'll talk more about traps as we get into future videos. Predictions on that's not a question. Hi, Vinny, I have a question regarding harmonics. Okay, we covered some of that tonight. You have a few times said you rely on harmonics for structure. Yes, I do. I just talked about that tonight. Rather than using the standard wedge. Oh, look at that. Perfect segue. It's exactly what we talked about tonight, didn't it? Harmonics provide structure themselves. Yes, this makes sense, but how to utilize it? I think I just showed. For example, we draw channels and wedges. ALGOBOX, the harmonics have been drawn for us. PRZ, do you mean we just use the harmonics? Yes, like we've been taught. Yes, or anticipating the completion of a harmonic and trade accordingly until it completes the PRZ. Oh, now, great question. So let's say that you got a harmonic forming. How am I going to draw this? Let's do the actual structure itself. Let's do some yellow. And so I've got, let's do a shark, because sharks are fun. Why not? All right. So we're going to have ourselves a little shark action with the little da-da-da-da-da and some big leg that we like up on the shark. Okay. So we know this is the structure.
Down.
Okay.
Color
Now,
dog
what do we
alert for
see
the
over
down.
here? How do we know it's going to be? Actually, I should do this in red because
NASDAQ. Color dog alert for
we know
NASDAQ.
that the shark on this one, this would be a red shark. Yes? So right down here, you would start to see shark being written, right? But let's say, I probably messed that all up. That the first structure you're going to see is this right here. Okay. Now, the next thing that you're going to see, remember that price is moving around in here. Price is coming down. It's probably doing one of these numbers. It has to touch here. It's come up to here. Price starts to move down. Now, this location, this pivot matters. So we see this. Boop. Okay. Now, up here, I am going to show a yellow square up there, right? This is what our system does, okay? If you guys know what this is, what am I drawing right here? If you know what I'm doing here, type a 1. If you don't know what I'm doing here, type a 2. And I'm drawing this pretend like I am ALGOBOX. I just did this. ALGOBOX can predict that the price is going right there. Yes, ladies and gents, that is what we're predicting. If the market pivots right here, ALGOBOX says its best guess, if this truly is a shark, which I'm glad we messed this up earlier because that would have been drawn here, not over there. You'll see this on your screen. Yeah, you guys get it. You guys know what's up. You guys know this thing is going to be a shark. It's going to turn red, but what color is it right now? It's yellow, right? It's like if you can drive a car, you can do this. Okay, red light, green light, yellow light means get ready. Okay. The question is, can you use this as a target? Yes, you can. Okay. Now, it doesn't just mean I just swing at it. You can, if that's your strategy, you can. That's back testing in my room. I can check it out. In Q5 chart now. Deciding to be or not to be a pattern. Yes. Now, this thing can totally break. This does not guarantee, just because this shows up. Again, remember, this is a predictive PRZ. At this moment in time, what you'll see on your chart, it's like, hey, guys, ding, ding, ding. You see this? It's like, hey, I think I might have a shark showing up here. Ding, 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 ding. You still have to be the intelligent human to go, well, do I have a trade here? Well, if right here I see a bat set up, right, and I get a green dot right here, or maybe a J hook with a dot, wouldn't this be a good entry? Yeah. If you see this up here, are you going to just take target 1 and target 2? No. See, this is a smart man right here. Ursulon has picked up on this. You want to talk about a savant student that we got in here. Ursulon picks up on these things. He's been crushing it. This is an advanced question. But if we enter in right here, yeah, sure, I could take my 10 target. Sure, I could take my 15. Probably going to hit both of those. But what could I do here? Yeah, maybe a turtle. Exactly, Neon. Maybe we got a turtle showing up in here. What can I use as a target now? What can I predictively think? Well, I've got this thing going with me. What do I want to do? I should be, this is advanced level, folks. You don't have to do this. So just, first of all, everybody, just follow with the program, do the easy stuff. But what he's talking about here, this is advanced. So just know, if you don't know what we're talking about here, it's okay. You'll get there, okay? Ask Ursulon. He'll tell you. We'll get there. You'll get there, right? 10, 15 target, sure, I can take that. But what I'm thinking about is what he is saying right here is, can you use the harmonics for targets? He may as well say that. The answer is, you can use the predicted PRZ, the PPRZ, for a target. And instead of taking a 10 and 15 target on this trade, which the bracket order would look like a winner that goes like this, and you got, you know, some money here, got some money here. Okay, this is your take home. If you're on your 5th trade of the day, again, one of these is, this is like, okay, I'm gonna swing for the fences. I'm on my 5th trade of the day, or I've got 5 winners already. I'm gonna swing for the fence on this beast. I'm gonna see if this one's gonna work all the way up there. So maybe you hold the whole pie. And where are you gonna go? You still have a very specific place you're going. The plan is adaptive, and this is what Tom Dante calls the evolution of your P&L. Profit evolution. Evolving R. Okay, he calls it evolving R. And that concept for us looks like this. I'm trying to build this bracket all the way to here. And my piece of the pie now is I'm going to ride this until this beast turns red. And now I see the completion of that shark. And then I could even try to ride this beast, get real tricky with it, and end up crushing it back down. Again, that's a terrible drawing. It would be more, because of the way this is leaning out, it would lean out like this because of the way the price is moving here. You get the point. It's not going to work. Okay. but it basically would look like this, and I should have moved this all the way over. You guys get the point, right? This PRZ is probably over here somewhere, but don't kill me for the drawing. But you know what I'm saying, right? That this price, you come all the way up in here, and ding! Target's filled. Targets filled. Why? Because we want multiple targets filled. Boom. Pass keys. You guys like that? Brilliant. Thanks for explaining. You are welcome. All right. I think we got one more question on the docket. We got from Mr. Doug. See all the time. We are to predict 1 bar at a time. Only one. Can you explain a bit more in detail? Give an example. Yes. Like which bar? Trading on? 2s, 5s, higher time frame. All right. Number 1. No. Never 2s or 5s. I don't care about 2s or 5s. It's a good question because obviously I've left you some confusion. Higher time frame. I have a couple of things swinging around in my head about this, and I need to kill them. This is an easy one. Go back to our very, very first. What do we care about? Right here. This period, this bar, wave chart. So the answer to his question, very simple, easy answer is, I want to come to my wave chart. I want to predict the next bar on since today is optimized for 25, that means that our system can very accurately predict 25 range bar. And how many ticks is in a 25 range? Pop quiz. How many ticks is in a 25 range bar? That is the question. I got a range bar here, end to end. How many ticks from top to bottom is a 25 range bar? 2 fingers, great predictor of the next bar.
NASDAQ.
Yes, it is.
Color dog alert for NASDAQ.
How many ticks from top to bottom? Basically, how big is this bar? How big? Kind of a trick question, but kind of not. How big is that bar? You should know this. 25. Bingo! Look at that. It's kind of a trick question, but it's kind of not. Bingo. 25 ticks. Exactly. Right. See, folks, see how easy this is? See how, like, we've taken all the complexity of the market and we've made it simple. What I call simplexity. 25. So, folks, if I want to make 25 ticks, guess what I should be working on? A 25 tick range, right? The next bar, 25 from top to bottom. So this one's 25. This one's 25. So if I move 2 bars, how much money am I making? 50. You see how easy this is? It's so great. It's so great. So what I want to predict the next bar. when you get really good, you will be able to predict, oh, I think this bar is going to overlap the next one. So here's another quick tip. What I tend to do is I wait until this bar is done. Let's zoom in to this bar that's currently active right now. I wish the market would like really turn up right now. I could probably do this on market replay. But right now, this bar is the current bar. Yes, everybody knows the current market price is on this bar right here. Sometimes hands off. So come back to Mr. Wilson's thing of when do you have hands off? Another little clip for me is I will wait until the next bar. When a 25 bar completes, folks, oftentimes you get a move after that optimized bar forms a new one. So what does the next bar usually look like? Like this. It's real simple. When you see that right there, look to see if you got an entry. Right? What would have happened here? So this bar completes. Okay, top to bottom. We got ourselves a red bar. Where does the next bar start? This is what's that called? Called the open, right? Open. What is every bar made of? An open, a high, a low, and the close. Okay, now the close can be at the top, close can be at the bottom. Okay, but open, high, low, close, you hear that all the time. All I care about is, okay, new bar opened. What do I got? What do I got? What do I got? I'm looking around. Okay, I got a new bar. The next bar, I'll give you an example right now. What do I think the next bar is going to do here? I'll tell you right now. My instinct, because I've been doing this for so long, if I'm just looking at these bars alone, I think the next bar is probably going to suck back up into this zone. I think it'll probably look something like this.
Color dog alert for the
Well,
Dow.
how many bars are right here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bars there. How many do I got here? 1, 2, 3. I got 4 bars here. It looks like the accumulation zones as of right now in this current market condition are approximately 6 bars in length. What am I on? Bar 4? Well, if this thing starts to move down, shows a little bit of a red bar, and then goes, don't I want to think that that's probably going to be the case? So yeah, I'm probably going to be looking for a long right here. I'm above this river. I'm above this river. And I think this is probably going to consolidate in here for a little while longer. So I'll wait until the next bar opens up. And now I'm going to look for an entry. Now I still want to enter in on my Ripple chart, so let's not get crazy. I'm not just trying to take entries off of my 25 bar, but I am getting to a point where my brain, I can eyeball it. Okay? I'm going to eyeball it. That if this bar completes and finishes right here, and again, it's if then else. We're writing syntax code here. If the bar comes to here and the next bar opens up right here, I'm not looking for this bar to shoot down. Now it can. I still got to keep my stops in order. I mean, there's nothing stopping this market. It could just do this, okay? It could. But if I'm trying to predict this next one, where we currently are, if you had to put a gun to my head and I had to take an entry right now, what would I say? I've got a level right here, first of all, VL1, 2, and 3. By the way, yes, our stuff draws these for you too. And, you know, if Tom Dancy, when he goes back and watches back at some point, he's a big levels guy. Our stuff's already drawn these for you, right? We got our levels. I got a level right here. So I think when it's trapped inside of here with a big moving average, like a 200 or a 50, and then I've got a level right above it, I think price is going to stick there a while. Follow me? But again, you don't have to know that right now. But as a person who has studied the markets for a long time, like Neon, I'm sure he totally gets this right now, right? If you study the markets for a period of time, this is likely going to accumulate right here. And then we're going to distribute. Or then we're going to distribute, right? Am I trying to predict this right now? No. Am I going to get timing on my lower time frames and execute on a structure? You bet your butt. Alrighty then, folks. Thank you for hanging out. Oh, what's up? My buttons aren't working. Hold on. Refresh. Let's try that again. Oh, yeah. All right, folks. Thanks for hanging out. We are going to send it off right here for me, Pippi, Robbie, Lunchbot, Mod Squad, Curtis G, and the rest of the gang. I'm sending out that big H-Town. See ya.
show you that I'm winning. Your love and mine. All those times I said that I love you. Your love and mine. Yes, I tried. Yes, I tried. Your love and mine. Even though you knew I died for you. Your love and mine. Yes, I cried. Yes, I cried. Return of the man. Return of the man. Come on. Return of the man. Oh my God. Here I am. Return of the man. Once again. Return of the man. Top of the world. Return of the man. Watch my phone. Here I go. So I'm back up in the game. Running things to take my swine. Letting all the people know that I'm back to run the show. Cause what you did, you know was wrong. And all the nasty things you done. So baby, listen carefully while I sing my comeback song. Your love and mine. She said she'd never turn on me. Your love and mine. But you did.